I'm ready. Let's do it.
All right, cool. I didn't mean to upset you. You're a star. Get this guy some green M&Ms in a fucking bowl, quick.
Only green, please.
Such a diva. Anywho, this is a very special episode of Rehash the Past podcast. As you might have witnessed, Sabrina's not with us today, but we have some very wonderful people guest starring on the show. We have Edgar and George. These guys are brothers from multiple mothers. We've known each other for over 20 years. And Sabrina knows these guys as well. It's just that tonight is boys' night. What do you think about that? Eat it, social justice warriors. We're going to get all patriarchal on you tonight and hit you with the hard hammer. Let's start with Edgar. A little insight to this sweet peach. I met him in high school back in the tender year of 1993, and this guy was an Adonis. He was looked at as the male model go-to in high school. This gentleman would eat a can of tuna and an apple every day at lunch while we all scarfed down cafeteria, pizza, and other high drinks like sticky buns. But this guy was disciplined and a mean mover on the dance floor. Also, the other half of the industrial dementia night we can get into later. Then we have George. George is a wonderful man I also met in high school back in the year of 1993. George, not being my peer in age, but my peer here, just happened to be a freshman as I was a senior because I had moved from Chicago to Florida, and they threw me in freshman classes because the credit system didn't match. And thank God for that, because I met this young man here, and look at him now. He's got a beard. He's an older dude. I think he's like pushing 40, but when I met him, he was pushing 14. So time flies, gentlemen. Does it not?
It certainly does.
Yeah. I am 40 now, by the way.
You're
almost
40.
41. Yeah, turned 41 in October.
God damn, I met you when you were 14.
Yeah, and I'm going to be a dad.
Yeah,
congratulations,
George.
I since this is Rehash the Past, I have to bring it up and really own it that Joe and I got you a birthday cake with the wrong birthday on it. We said that you were 16, I think, or I think it was, and you were 17. And we got you the wrong candles, and you took that. I remember you took that kind of personally. You were like, "Hey guys, I'm not 16."
Yeah,
I remember
rough,
that.
Man.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
I remember
Thanks for bringing that up, by the way.
Yeah, no, I mean, we are talking. We said Joe said you're pushing 40. He got it wrong again. You are actually 40.
Yeah, I don't take that to heart though. I mean, back then we didn't know each other for that long yet, so it's not that.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, we were disposable to you still, right, George?
Yeah, you were like you were just acquaintances back then.
Yeah, we didn't know where everything was gonna go, so we just were.
It's incredible to think about that all that time ago. If we would have thought back then, like we'd be on a group internet video chat right now like we are, who would have been like, they're crazy. But here we are, Here
we are, creating a sort of Bermuda virtual triangle, because I'm over here in Dusseldorf, Germany. George, hailing from the mean streets of Florida. Edgar, of course, the industrial dementia himself, is located in Brooklyn, New York. So, yeah, we're spread out, man.
He's industrially demented.
Why don't we just jump right into that industrial dementia story, Edgar? What was it back when it was 1997, 98, 99? I don't know.
Oh, Joe, that was 1996, my friend. That was the late summer of 1996, where I was still working at Carrabba's Italian Grill. I think we all were, actually.
We all were, yeah.
Yeah, we all were. I think you were working on the as a line cook.
I was saute cook, yeah.
Yeah, and Joe and I were were waiters, and we actually, do you know how that came about? One of the managers at Carrabba's, his name is Craig. He's a pretty happy-go-lucky guy. He told me that his friend Randy was opening up a club in what other place but Coral Springs, Florida. I mean, to this day, there is still not a nightclub in Coral Springs, Florida. Okay.
So that's the connection.
Location.
That's the connection. Yeah.
Wow,
Location.
I had no. That's.
Oh
Wow.
yeah. So because I went out a lot, and still do when I can, but Craig said, "Oh, you're a person that goes out a lot. My friend's opening this nightclub. Maybe you should go check it out in Coral Springs, right?" And it's very interesting to me because I drove all the way up to Coral Springs to meet this guy, and how it played out was that I spoke to him, and it was a teen club that he was opening with no alcohol. And which is fine because we weren't 21 yet. And then I remember that I spoke to him and I said, "Okay, what are you looking for? What do you?" And I was promoting at that time for raves, local raves. And then I remember that I came to New York the weekend after I spoke to him. My uncle was getting married, and I came for the wedding. And that weekend, Joe, you went up and spoke to him and told him that we knew each other, and that's how you were there. And you proposed the idea of us having an event, organizing an event there. And that's how industrial dementia came about.
And my proposal was as such. I said I was an up-and-coming DJ.
Yeah.
Which means I hadn't even ever used a turntable, but I'd like to.
You had a lot of CDs.
A lot of faking it till you make it there. But yeah, I got my hands on that mixer and I was ready to go. And he bought it, hook, line, and sinker. I pitched him the idea for a Gothic industrial night. And then we, of course, brainstormed together to come up with the most magnificent name ever. Industrial Dementia in Coral Springs.
Sorry.
But the best was the interior of that club. You remember what it looked like?
You got black everywhere. It's just black. Everything was blacked out.
Prior to that, it was like what?
Red velvet, right?
It was like neon painted murals all over the walls, like of.
Oh yeah, it looked like it basically looked like
it was like
a
Jamaica.
Bunch of blacklight. Yeah, it looked like a bunch of blacklight psychedelic stoner paintings blew up all over the place.
It was like a beach party in the Bahamas or some shit. It was totally not apropos for a Gothic industrial night. And George, I am really in disbelief that you don't remember how that black cloth got up there.
Oh, I remember.
Yeah. Oh, you do?
That's really
because Edgar left us to hang out to dry on that one.
Yeah, I know. We had to do all that.
Well, listen, I didn't know.
Thanks for Graham Palms, by the way, for all those black tablecloths.
Well, I didn't know that was. I honestly didn't know that the undertaking was going to be that huge because, we just didn't, But you guys went, and I remember. I would imagine there were probably 50 to 70 tablecloths that you somehow.
Oh my God!
procured.
Yeah, we transformed the interior to that completely black, the entire room, and it took a ton of tablecloths.
Yeah. But they were huge. They were those gigantic tablecloths. They weren't like little tablecloths. They were like for banquet tables. It was crazy.
Yeah, and we staple gunned it, or
we had staple gun some of them they were heavy, so we had staple gun 15 staples on each corner, and then they would still fall, and you'd have to get back up and do it again. It was not easy.
And then Kinkos, we had the oversized black and white prints that were enlarged photocopies of album covers and such hung up on the walls.
Completely just took people's artistic stuff.
Funny that we brought this up because if you get, I don't know if it's relevant right now, but I actually have the flyer with me right here.
Oh, no kidding.
I just have to. Yeah, actually, is it worth grabbing? You think, or maybe we should just leave that out?
Yeah, grab it.
Yeah, man, I haven't seen it in forever.
Well, remember, it wasn't just one. There were multiple versions.
That's true. Yeah, there were multiple versions, and they were all handcrafted, cut and paste with actual scissors and glue. Yeah.
Yes.
Old school. And photocopied. Yeah. And these flyers were made in the hundreds, and they went on car windows all over the place.
yeah.
And I think
It was
maybe
like you cut the
one person
letters.
actually found themselves at the club.
Okay, so here's
George
here's
Morgan.
one. Here's
Progressive and industrial dance night at the Haze.
There you go.
It looks
Okay,
like
that's what.
it looks like the template for like a like an art thing you do on the computer, but it wasn't like edited properly. It's still the whited out letters.
Here's the other one.
The beginning. Industrial
The Haze.
dementia.
That's right.
Oh, yes.
Wait, there's more. There's this one.
Industrial dementia. The beginning.
Okay.
It's like manufactured illness, industrial dementia.
There's another one.
The beginning. And nearly the end. We just didn't know it yet.
And this is probably my favorite one.
Yeah.
That was I like that one.
Yeah.
It's from what, Sisters of Mercy, right?
Yeah, this is Sisters of Mercy. Really good. These actually were great, except that unfortunately the way that they were printed, because we didn't, we had these were done at Kinkos on black and white paper, or just on paper, but the cutting of them was not done well because we had them cut. They printed them and they cut them for us. And clearly, they didn't give a fuck about cutting the edges correctly.
Actually,
you can clearly see.
Edgar, I'm pretty sure I cut those.
Yeah,
and if you want it done better, you can motherfucking do it yourself, bro.
No,
because I don't remember you designing them or printing them or cutting them or hanging up the tablecloths or hanging
put up any of the tablecloths or do anything. He just shows up and he's like, "Wrong, you're all wrong."
No, actually, Joe, you didn't do these because I remember picking these up myself from Kinkos. You didn't do this. That's I wouldn't. I mean, listen, I wouldn't blame you for anything, but no, we had these. We sent them in and we had them done because I picked these up in Kinkos in Coral Springs because that was the first night.
What am I thinking? Of course, I'm confusing things because, of course, I worked at Kinkos, but this was way before I worked there.
Yeah, this is way before then, man.
It's like 10 years, like years before. Yeah. My apologies,
This is 1996, man. Yeah, this is 96, man. You weren't even considering, you didn't know. That was it, see? So they didn't give a shit, and they cut them like this. And, of course, I didn't really know how to use a paper cutter or that it was available, so I took them and I plastered all of Coral Springs pointlessly.
Yeah, totally.
But then I remember – no, I went to Piper High School, I remember, and thought that was going to work out until I got kicked out. I got kicked out of everywhere for promoting.
Milling around to high school at 20 years old.
Well, I mean, whatever.
I know, but like you think about it, people are like, "What are you doing here?"
Yeah, well, I was putting out flyers for a club, and actually there was no alcohol service, so it really wasn't, anything terrible.
No,
but where this got really tricky, and this is where I don't know if you guys remember this, but we got in big trouble when we went to the Kitchen Club parking lot, and we basically got strong-armed. By Aldo and his crew to take every flyer off of the cars in that parking lot underneath the bridge in downtown Miami.
Yeah.
Way to help a brother out, Kitchen. By the way, way to help a brother out. It's like an hour and a half away from your club. We've been going to your club.
Spending money at their club for a long time, yeah.
We're all friends, and then they pulled the plug on that. Yeah, I forgot about that. Shocking.
I don't. The details of this are still very fresh with me.
Betrayal.
Yeah. And what's weird is that
industrial betrayal.
Industrial betrayal. That'll be the name for the next night we do.
Yeah.
Well, no, I mean, and you know what? Later, about 5 years later, or maybe 5 or 6 years later, I ended up hosting the Kitchen at the Mission. So I could have just said fuck you to them, but I didn't, but I ended up hosting their party for a very long time. Anyway, the point being that, we got in trouble. I remember they brought us inside, and I was a little scared. I was like, what the fuck's going to happen? This is going to be like a Gothic beatdown. And they said, what are you guys doing? And they said, we didn't ask permission, and we explained it. And they said, no, we can't have competitors putting out flyers here I remember them saying, if you want to stay for the rest of the night, you have to go and take every flyer off every car. And of course, well, we were 20. What did we know? We would have been like, fuck you, we're out of here, and leave the flyers in the car. But we didn't, and we were nice.
Of course
because
not. We were respectful individuals, and we had thought that the kitchen would back us up, but no.
It's a matter of respect. It's Gothic respect, and we didn't ask permission. So of course it was, and also our party was on a Wednesday, the worst night to do a party. But what did we know? You learn.
You should have never taken the flyers down and just been like, I'm sorry, I'm suffering from industrial dementia. I forgot.
Yeah, totally. We were suffering from.
That's funny. Now the flyers all of a sudden look like the thing that you walk up to someone eating outdoors and you're like, you point to it and hold out your hands like.
Please, this was my life at one time.
Also, Joe, on the flyer, which is so not Gothic, I'm going to read it to you, okay?
Okay.
It says, at Progressive and Industrial Dance Music, Wednesday night, no date, which is great, right? Just Wednesday night. At the Hayes Dance Club, located at 5225 South University Drive in Ropan Boulevard, in the Pet Supermarket Plaza. It's so not cool to use the Pet Supermarket as
it's a landmark.
Yeah,
of course, but it's this just goes
super
to show
Gothic.
you that
sponsored
super
by
Gothic
Petco. Industrial
it's
dementia.
a Gothic pet supermarket. There's only black cats there.
It's so silly, right? When you think about it, in the Pet Supermarket Plaza. But that's Florida, anyway. You know,
that is Florida, totally, man. Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's nothing really to landmark it to, because usually everything is in a plaza somewhere, you know, or across from some sort of auto mall, you know, or something like that. You know? So anyway, but then I remember that our first night was really great. We had, I think, a big turnout. Maybe 10 people, 15 people that we knew, most of them being my sister came with a friend, so that's, you know, she's related to me. George, you were called George Morgan.
She said my right name, but you guys didn't remember my name, so you're like, who's George Morgan? Oh yeah, he's over there.
But you weren't there.
It was my friend Jill. She showed up and she asked for me by my real name, and one of you knuckleheads was like, "Oh, George Morgan? Yeah, that's that guy. We know him."
I highly doubt that. The dementia wasn't that deep, bro.
Yeah, it wasn't that deep yet. But Michelle came. Alfonso came. Jiminy Cricket
Allie
came.
and Claudia were there. Your girlfriend Christina was there.
Yeah.
Yes. So if we run down the line, we had a pretty good first week turnout. You know.
I think Ian showed up too, right?
Ian came,
Yeah.
Probably.
Ian, I mean, I think, you know, all our best buds were there. It was a decent turnout. I think there was probably like 30 people. You know, I think there might have even been one or two people that no one knew. Oh, mystery guest, but
what, walk-ins? Whoa.
Yeah, right off the street. I mean, the guy that owned the club, he was pretty proud of us. He was happy. You know, he was stoked that we transformed the place. He paid us out. I remember we felt like Big Daddy-O's walking around with that 150, 200 bucks, whatever it was. But it all fell apart on the second week.
Yeah, well, no, but
what happened? I don't remember what happened.
Oh my God, dude!
Was the second week of your epic DJ set?
Yeah, man.
Oh, that's right.
It was pretty epic. Yeah, I remember. I had the headphones on, and I'm fast forwarding through a song to cue it up, and then I realized, oh, that's what they're listening to. Oh, I looked up and was like, what the hell are you doing? And then I just jammed it right over into whatever track was there, which was like a terrible track. And it just so happens, I think.
You did this too. You were like, whoosh.
Something like, I don't know. I basically just like cut it and I walked out. I left. I walked right out of the booth. I went over to that guy. I was like, you got to go in, man. I'm done. I'm out. That was it.
Yeah, I was standing next to you, and I remember that I was up there, and I had played a couple of songs, and then what happened, and this was a not problem, but this is, you know, the 90s and DJing, and we brought our own equipment, which was even more frustrating because we there were only turntables there, and all the music that we were playing at the time was mostly available on CD, which seemed so futuristic even at that point, but it is now not. But we had to bring our own CDs, and I remember you and I sitting there for the week before making the CD, the stickers on the CD with the tracks, and then where we would cue up the song, the ins and outs of the songs, our cue points, and
oh my God,
it was just so much happened to get that place together that we were really prepared. We were so prepared. We didn't really have a set prepared per se, but we did have our CDs, ready to go. But it was just interesting because we spent so much time on the production of the event that we really didn't even have a chance to practice a set. We were more like, okay, we're here, we're going to play the songs that we know, and we just did everything. So we were soup to nuts production company. And I remember that day you were standing next to me and I was watching you, and you had this song on and you were queuing up the next song, but somehow you just didn't think about it, and this song was playing, and you just had the fader in the middle, and you just raised the volume, and you just blah 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 blah. Yeah, and it was something was playing, and then Joe was like fast forwarding, and it would have been a cool effect, if it was for a second or something, but you just kept going on it. And I remember you looked up and you looked at me and you were like, your eyes were wide and you were like, oh. You took the headphones off and you're like, I'm done.
I'm out.
Done.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Walked it out.
I played the rest of the night. Not that there was much left to play. There were like, 5 people there. But anyway, I remember that moment. That was an epic situation. It was really, really good.
Who canceled it? Was it the guy that ran it? He's like, you guys are done.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I
don't remember.
We didn't have any growth.
No.
Zero growth. Yeah.
Well, we were a little too ambitious, because we were young and had never done it before. But we should have been. Whatever. Hindsight's 20/20. That shit's real. But we should have probably opted for a monthly and not a weekly. Because to put that shit up every week was too much. We could have.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, we had the opportunity. We were, we would have done if we would have had the first event and then had the foresight to say, okay, that was a lot of work. Let's do it next month and tell people to come to the party. And truthfully, it wouldn't have done too well because there was no alcohol there. It was a teen club. So, Coral Springs. Who the hell wants to drive there? No one goes there now. Even now. George, you live in Florida. Is there? Yeah. And it's what I mean. Is there any hot spots? Yeah, no hot spots there.
No, it's not, dude. It's the suburbs. It's not nightclubs.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So.
Hot spot is Sawgrass Mills, probably for you guys. That's where it's blowing up at Sawgrass Mills, the world's largest outlet mall.
Oh man.
Well, there is
not big anymore. It's kind of slowed down now.
Yeah. Well, currently everything's slowed down. But I remember when we were there a couple of years ago.
Yeah, we all drove around. We did a little high school drive around, just driving around Fort Lauderdale, like.
And I remember there was
a fast food restaurant.
Yeah, and I remember there was a DJ playing Latin music across the bar from where we had a quick bite and a drink after the movie, remember? And people were dancing. It was super weird, though, because, taking it back to the 90s, Sawgrass Mills does hold a dear place for me in that we, of course, being teenagers, but good ones, we were good kids, and we always opted for the last show that they played on a Friday night. We went to the movies on Fridays before we started going to Miami or to Coconut Grove for the kitchen, and we would always go for the midnight movie or the 11:30 just because it was the easiest to not have the crowds, and also because we always got to score the choice movie posters that we wanted, and that was pretty good actually. I remember that I got my lovely Scream poster when Scream came out from the top there, and my Spirited Away poster is still around.
Yeah, we were poster bandits back in the day.
Yeah, we It's interesting because I have so many of them, and I thought of you yesterday, Joe, because I went out to a craft store that has a big selection of frames, and I was just pricing out what it would cost to frame my posters, just because I still have so many, and I don't think that they should just be sitting in a closet if I can put them up. But anyway, I started thinking about all the posters that you had that you just let go by the wayside, and I kept thinking
my heart. I didn't let them go to my wayside. I let them go to my super mega crush from high school, and yeah, followed my heart right down and a well there. Yeah, unfortunately, I had my hands on at least a dozen very rare Smith posters.
Yeah, those were the ones. I thought about those yesterday, and I thought about that.
Tragic. I think about it
Morrissey
every few weeks for some reason. It pops in my head. I'm showering. I'm like, God damn, that one with the ice cream. Oh, Jesus.
Also, there's the one more.
And you're always included in that thought because I had wished also that you had a cross section of them as well.
I wish I had them too. I just remember that one Morrissey poster where he's standing sort of in the corner and his shirt's open and it's brown. I forget if it's it's for one of his solo albums, but it was a really, really beautiful poster. And for some reason, I don't see many posters being made anymore for bands. I mean, I don't really shop for that stuff, but even when I go to record stores.
Yeah, I mean, what record stores though? I mean, back in the day in the 90s, there were a lot of record stores, and they had great posters, but what record store?
Yeah, there's not much going on anymore, I mean, it's a unique situation. But you could buy things online, but they're not the same.
No. But back in the day in the 90s, I mean, we used to drive an hour just to get to a record store, Bird Road. And it was no trouble to make the drive. The drive was absolutely part of that journey, and we would blast music as loud as possible there and back, like it was a club. It was like industrial dementia in the Toyota Paseo. Yeah.
Oh my God,
the
that's right.
Paseo.
Get it on, get it on, get it on.
Let's continue here, crying our souls out for all the things we've lost.
I was just saying that I'm not crying my soul out. Like I am happy being a minimalist. I'm happy not having to worry about that stuff anymore. I have the memories, like I was telling Joe. I'm okay with it. I don't have anything.
But name me one thing you wish you did still have.
My wallet with $150 that you stole from me. You don't remember that? When I lost that wallet? When I lapped my wallet.
I remember you blaming me or asking me.
No, you just messed with me. You're like, yeah, bro. You're like,
right. I was like, I'll never tell you.
You show up with a bunch of stuff, like, and be like, thanks for buying this for me. I'm like, what?
Yeah, and I think I played that joke for like a couple years or something. Huh?
Years. Yes, years.
Yeah.
And
also, George,
it was right before we went to Disney World. Remember? It was like we were about to go to Disney World. And I had like $150 cash. It was like my chain wallet for my with the chain. And we were about to go to Disney World. I lapped it. I got out of the car. It must have fallen out. And then so I'm like, hey guys, I need money now.
But how do you lap a chain wallet?
Well, it wasn't connected. I took the chain off. It used to be a chain wallet.
I remember when I used to wear a chain wallet, like a heaviest chain you can buy from a hardware store chain wallet. And they made me stop wearing it because it was a dangerous weapon.
It's a weapon, dude. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but Joe, let's be real. You had a humongous chain wallet.
Yeah. There's like a kryptonite lock for a chain wallet.
Yeah. And it was like red, white, and blue, or it was white. I remember
that was another one. That was made out of plastic. That was a plastic.
Yeah,
chain,
but
that one. Yeah.
But even though that's the one that I remember you took to school and they told you couldn't wear it anymore, even though it was plastic, they still didn't let you wear it. But
no, it was the metal one I wasn't allowed to wear.
Oh, it was the metal one.
The very
what
thick
color was
metal
that
one. It was just like the cheapest, biggest, heaviest metal chain you can buy by the foot at the hardware store. It was that.
Yeah, it was like an industrial chain for lifting giant garage doors. It was like one of those.
And that's what I got.
I could see
hoisting up an engine maybe in an auto shop, one of those big, thick, heavy chains.
Yeah, I could see why they didn't want you to have it. I mean, it makes sense.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Totally. But it wasn't fair that the guy took my hat off on the first day of school and said he was going to give it back on the last and never did. That wasn't cool.
No, that's totally unfair. But the chain,
Confiscation.
that wouldn't happen now. Those were the 90s, and those were things those were moments when I think back on it, and like how we were treated in school and the things that teachers said and all that stuff. Like it just wouldn't fly now.
Did they ever make you turn your shirt inside out because of something too controversial on it? They did that to me once. I was wearing a Silverfish shirt, hips, tits, lips, power, and they made me turn that inside out.
Yeah.
Which was not cool. I didn't want to take my shirt off in the middle of school.
Of course not. And it wouldn't happen now. Like that would be rather reckless of a educator or someone working in education to do that, to make you take off your shirt. That would look a little questionable.
A little bit.
Seem questionable.
A little bit, buddy.
Different times, man. Like when I think about those, I remember, when we were all in high school together too, like the way that they disciplined kids, it was with us. We were kids. It was very different, it was internal suspension. What the hell is that? That's basically like a day off in the school. Like that doesn't make any sense. IS was the dumbest thing ever. It was hang out.
Because I remember being like in the basement in Illinois, and it was just this, lackluster basement type room, cinder block walls. You're not allowed to talk. There's no sound. And now that I'm thinking of it, and you're bringing it up, wouldn't it be cool if internal suspension, or ISS, in-school suspension is what they called it, if it was like this awesome yoga room, like where it was like, like very soft ambient music with some like spiritual Tibetan, hanging like rugs on the wall, and it's just like, wouldn't that be? I mean, you probably
of course.
What?
Of course.
So you get rewarded for misbehaving in school?
No.
Like
It's more of
you know what? You've been a jerk today, so why don't you go relax with some Middle Eastern music and
this is
relax.
The big discussion. What is better, punishment or rehabilitation, my friend?
Exactly, and that's what I said. That's what I was gonna say. Is like, if you're being a wildcat out there and you're doing things, I think maybe you just need to be recentered, And for a lot of kids, hormones are racing in high school, and the diet that kids eat, we're eating a lot of candy and a lot of junk. Not me.
Hey, perhaps though, I'm not saying rehabilitation isn't good. What I'm saying is that you don't want to comfort and coddle people too much. If you misbehave in school, I'm not saying you should go to, be cordoned off in a room by yourself or with other people who are misbehaving, but maybe someone there in the room talking to you about what is going on. Like, hey, what happened? Talk to me. What are you feeling?
Yeah, that's what I'm.
Maybe just a little one-on-one with somebody, but I don't see the need to reward people, because I think being put in a room with soft music and like nice ambient lighting and rug and it's just like this calm, warm feeling. Like I'd be like, I'd be a jerk every day and go chill out. Like, I'm having a stressful day, so I'm gonna.
But then at the end of the year, you'd be like a yoga master, bruh.
Yeah.
George wants everyone. George would have preferred scared straight.
Right.
George would have preferred to go. Listen here.
No, I don't want that either, man. I think
up against the wall.
Rehabilitation is
give me your
proper,
shoes.
but it has to be done right.
Agree. No, I agree with you. Of course. I mean, I'm not one for last place trophies either, but that's me. I think there is a place, and competition's good, and you should strive to be better. But I do agree. I mean, I think we're all saying the same thing, that it would have been much more useful and efficient a tool to have a program where, yes, you're either talking to. There's like, it would be nice if there was a room that was comfortable and relaxing and a bit like cozy, and then you got to talk
where
to
the teacher's
someone.
like, come inside.
like a cult leader.
I'm gonna put on some relaxing music, okay?
Here, drink the Kool-Aid. You'll be able to enjoy yourself.
Joe's having a fantasy moment right now, I think, is what's happening.
Totally, man. I got you putting the apple on my desk right now.
I am all for rehabilitation. Like I said, I think that what's lacking in schools and what's lacking in society is the fact that people just don't have dialogue. You can't, if someone's, instead of just someone disagreeing with you and I hate you, I hate everybody about like you, like no one has dialogue anymore. No one is capable of just
Agreed, yeah.
getting to the root of what's bothering them. Like some people have a disagreement, you're like, let me hear your side of the story, and then you'll hear their side of the story, and then actually talk about it, and care.
Yeah.
And don't just wait for them to stop talking so you can get your point out. There's very little of that these days, and it's showing, and people are suffering for it. Not just physical suffering, but there's a lot of division, and that's one of the reasons why is people don't have dialogue anymore. People don't talk about their issues like calmly. It's just all or nothing. You agree with you like this person or you like this politician, that means I hate you. It's so stupid. It's so primitive. It's so dumb.
Well, I think in America, I think the way that we communicate, and I've seen this elsewhere where it is different. And I think like between us three, we certainly set a tone with each other about this too, is that everything, interpersonal relationships and stuff, that they are complicated and they can't just be black and white. And I think that our culture, especially American culture, is very quick to have to put something in its place, right? So that way it could be completely understood, and then that's it. But nothing is really that's it. Things sometimes require years and years and years of continual conversation and deciphering, like what else is there? Things are deeper than that. But our culture is a little bit, I don't want to criticize it, but it's a little superficial. Like everything has to be, on and on. But
it's all about instant gratification too. Like you if you don't get results right now, it's like that. I can't have it, can't hear it, done. Like what? Like why is that? And why is that the paradigm right now? Is that it's just all or nothing. There's no middle ground for a lot of things and a lot of subjects, and a lot of people. It's very frustrating, honestly, to see what's happening. I can't even do Facebook anymore. I can't go on there.
It's a funny time because in a lot of ways, people can get exactly what they want. You can go on Netflix. You can get exactly what you want. You go on Amazon, you get exactly what you want. You can go in the supermarket and get exactly what you want. So it's like the land of plenty, and there's so much accessibility to what you want that, like with people, you can't just get what you want. But people, I think they're in this state of mind where it's like, what? Of course I can. Yeah. Because we're so familiar with how easy and accessible, society is in the United States. I think people have a very low tolerance, low threshold for when they don't get their way.
Exactly.
Yeah. That's me, man.
That's a real point there. Is that we are in this country of where I'm at, Georgia, in the U.S. We have to get things done and finish them and move on to the next thing, and instead of really enjoying the journey, I guess you could say, which sounds really cliche to say, but that's really the part of it, right? Enjoying the whole thing. It's not just like from one stop, A to B, soup to nuts immediately, It can't be that way. Like it's what you do along the way that's the rewarding part when you finally figure out, okay, next level, right? But that's something that in the way I communicate with people, I try to establish, is that it's not easy because it's not meant to be easy. Some things are just meant to really take some time. You can't rush things if you want the good result. If you rush it, you might just get something similar to a result you want, but it's not gonna be as gratifying. But,
it's very pacifying though, being able to have like 5 streaming services with tens of thousands of options. People start to feel like
it's overwhelming.
There's no fight left. I'm just gonna
It's
blah blah
overwhelming.
blah 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 blah. I'm just gonna become the putty, the jelly in the jar, or whatever it is.
Because it's hyper choices. If you had, what I love about Europe, and this is something that I always bring up because I work in the food business, and in the service industry, and you go out anywhere in the United States, maybe not so much New York, but even here still, and you go to a bar to have a beer, and you quickly have a beer list of so many beers that you're just like, I just wanted a cold, refreshing beer, and instead I have to now work harder to read through this list and figure out which one I would actually want.
And the likelihood of you being disappointed also goes up.
Exactly. Like the odds are stacked against you.
Because then you start getting
now,
straight. Oh, here's this with the cherry wood Rozzy Bozzy tint.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh, I'll try it. And they're like, this sucks. I just wanted a beer. How did that happen?
I know. All I wanted was a cold fucking beer. And as a person who loves food and wine and beverage, I get it, but our systems in the U.S. for giving people such an unlimited amount of, or not unlimited, but just such a large amount of choice, it sort of it takes away from the experience of just actually relaxing. Like in Germany, for example, I really love it. In Holland, I love it. Like there are 2 beers. You want a light one? You want a dark one? Or maybe 3, and that's it. And you just enjoy it. And then you get back to talking to your friends. It doesn't take you 10 minutes to look at a menu and decide what beer you want. I mean, it's a beer, dude. It's going to last about 10 minutes if you drink slow. It doesn't require that much thought, I mean, it does and it doesn't, I mean, there's, of course, whoever hears this is like, oh, this guy's totally hating on all the hard work that I put into making my craft beer. No, it's not that. It's not that. It's up to I think the person who orders to be like, I think these are 4 really good beers, and that's what I want to have on draft. And that's it. It's what I offer, not 14 or 75 in some places, Like, remember when we went to Sawgrass Mills? And we had those little bites after the movie, and I was looking at the beer taps, and I was like, how in the fuck does this even get maintained? Like, where's the space for all these kegs? I'm like, it was like 35 taps. I'm like, at some point, just working in that environment, I'd be like, I don't even know where that beer. I mean, I would know where the beer is after a while. You learn it, but you're like, which one? You'd be running back and forth just to pull on a tap. I mean, it's just saying, I use that as an example because it's what I know, but it doesn't. It goes further in American culture. That's all I'm saying.
Oh yeah.
I like the fact that there's choices. I think that's kind of shows how far along we've come, and I think that's what capitalism is. I mean, it's free enterprise. That this country is based on that concept, is that you have the right to life and liberty. So there should be massive amounts of choices. However, it's very important that society takes care of themselves and not like shift that over into the rest of their lives. Like, just because you have a huge variety to choose from in this, it shouldn't mean that like it shouldn't go into your whole like psychological outlook on like conversations with people. And it's just there's not enough separation of these like ways of thought. People are not connecting the way they should be, and people are not, they're, because of all the choices, they pretty much we're spoiled. People are spoiled. And
yeah.
I agree with you. At the same time, I think it's a good thing that there are so many people out there who can make those tons of beers, and there are restaurants and bars that offer these beers. It's cool. It's like the future. It's where
it's totally
come.
Cool. Absolutely, I think it's great, and that's what I said. I don't want to be a hater about it. I'm not. I'm thinking everyone should be able to do whatever they want. I'm more talking about just the way that as the consumer, sometimes it's like a drainer when someone's like.
For sure. You know what I say to that? Because you work in this industry, and so do I. When people come up and they go to my bar and they say, "What's good?" I'm like, you're a grown man. You should know what's good. You should know what you want. Don't come to me and be like, "What's good?" And then I give you something and you're like Joe said, "Oh, this is crap." Like, well then, how about you be a big boy, do your research, and figure it out,
But here we have a little bit of a problem, a little crossroads here, George, because I too am a fan of capitalism and choice and options, and I want people to strive to make their dreams come true and bring it to market and see how it does. However, with that attitude, sir, I have to let you know, capitalism has something in store for you, and it's called automation, and you can expect me to have a robot
for sure.
in each arm. I shall escort them into your restaurant, and if you have that attitude, brah, out the door, replaced with this
I'm not
smiling, emoji-faced robot who will definitely answer the question, what's good?
Yeah, you know what? I'm not concerned with that, first of all, happening anytime soon. But however, I am 100% on board with automation. I hope to God, I really do, that a freaking robot can do what I do, so I don't have to do it anymore. Because I don't want to do it anymore. I'm done.
Then what are you going to do?
I'll do something that's more meaningful. I mean, it's fine. I'm not
Fix
like
the
planning
robot?
on being a bartender for the rest of my life. However, there's something to be said. It's a very old pastime that they say, you know, there's a saying that bartenders are like your therapist. People go in and sit at the bar and they talk to the human on the other side. You can't get that from a robot. There are barflies, people who spend every single day at the bar. I have people that come in 4 times a week and sit at my bar, or they used to before this pandemic, and they want to talk. They want to hear your insight. They want to have a interaction, because unfortunately the rest of the society that's around them doesn't offer them anything, or, you know, whatever the reason may be. They look to they enjoy that. They thrive on knowing at the end of their day. I don't agree with it, because alcohol is kind of poison, but they come to sit at the bar and they want to get a buzz, and they want to talk to people, you, the bartender, or they want to talk to people around. And I witnessed the meeting of people, the friendships that can form. It's a social interaction that you're not going to get a lot of places. So good luck with the robots, because I guarantee there's a lot of people who would be like, no, I'm not going to go to the robot bar. I'm going to go to the human bar where I can talk to people and be like social, because that's what drinking is these days, is a social, you know, social interaction thing. It's not gonna. I'm not saying that automation isn't gonna happen, because of course it is. It's the future. I mean, AIs are gonna take over everything, most things. However, I don't think that you're gonna get the same feedback from robot bars than you would from human bars. That's all I'm gonna say.
Yeah, because a robot wouldn't say, "You're a grown man, you should know."
Well, here's the thing, Joe. I don't say that. That's just like inside my head. I'm very respectful to the people. In my head, I'm thinking that. But you would understand, though, because you don't do it every single day. So you got people that come in and they want to order something that they want exactly. Or if they say, I'm looking for this, I can deal with it. I can deal with all of it. But if someone says, I normally drink this. This is what I want. Can you help me out? For sure. Totally.
Let's try it out.
I know everything about here.
Let's try it out. You're a real waiter, and I'm a robot. Edgar's the customer.
I'm a bartender. I'm not a waiter.
I mean a bartender, sorry. I'm Robo Tender, and you're just Tender. Okay?
So who am I?
You're the walk-in. Approach this man. See how it goes. You got about 30 seconds. Try it out.
Oh, hey. Good afternoon, sir. How's it going?
What's up, bud? How are you? What can I get for you?
I'm doing well. Thanks for asking. I'd like I'd like a cold beer, something refreshing and light, and something good, something that refreshing, light, like maybe
Stella. I got Stella. It's perfect.
Yeah, you know what? But since I'm here from Holland, I've had Stella a lot, and I'm here in the U.S. where I hear there's a lot of, there's a lot more choices. Do you have something maybe that you would recommend that's, equivalent
totally.
but better or different?
Yeah. Do you like IPAs?
I can. Yeah, I've had them before. Something not too happy.
How about this? I have these little cups. I can give you a sample of anything on our tap. How about Civil Society Fresh? It's a nice, medium-bodied, fruity, juicy IPA. Not too bitter, not too big on the bite. Try that one. Here you go.
Thank you. Thank you so much. It's very kind of you. I'll let you
know.
Oh,
what, you don't like that one? Let me get you something else. Anything you want to try. I'll give you a sample of all that. Let's see if the robot's going to do that. My robot counterpart over here. Let's see if he does that.
Well done.
Okay.
A seasoned veteran over here. Okay. So walk it in again, Edgar. We're going to show this guy what's up in the future.
Okay.
Here, I'm a robot. Take this beer. This beer is tasty. You must like it.
Wait, we're gonna let the.
Just put your sunglasses on, George. All right, put your sunglasses on.
Yeah.
Future's bright, homie. Come on.
We don't know what the automaton is gonna do yet. Yeah. So here we go. Okay. Am I coming in again now? All right.
Yeah.
Hello. Good afternoon.
Oh Lord. Hello.
That's frightening. What the fuck?
Oh lordy. What the?
Why is the robot?
Are you gonna give me a beer or try to fuck me? I don't know what you're about to do.
All depends, cowboy. I'm just glad to have you near.
In your beer.
I'm so glad you stopped by.
It's wow.
What? I think your experiment failed.
What can I do for you, big pal? Big buddy.
what you could do is stop gyrating like that because it's freaking me
No
out.
problem, sir. No problem.
Big pal. Oh my God.
What's up, big pal? Big papa.
You have a most handsome smile. Glad to have you here, Pally.
Whoever
What you in the mood
programmed
for?
you is a total pervert. I would love a cold, refreshing beer. What do you recommend? Something perhaps like a Pilsner, or whatever you would recommend.
Oh, you
Oh,
sure you don't
boy.
want a warm flat beer? Because of course you want a cold, refreshing
Dude,
beer. Who
you're-
says that?
You're fired straight up with that shit, bro. All right,
Like, no, I
I'm
only
here
got
to
hot beer
stay.
back here. Enjoy.
Robo server just got the job. Well, of course, sir. We would like to provide to you an excellent experience, and I know exactly what to give you. Perhaps we start you off with one of these sample cups that my colleague spoke of. I'm going to give you two.
Can't steal my ideas.
But while I go grab that, let me give you a little massage on your neck with my extendable
Ew.
hair there. Ching, ching, ching. Ding, ding, ding. Feel good? There you go.
What happens when the robot malfunctions and punctures your carotid artery? Ah! Malfunction.
I don't
Then
know,
I-
man.
robot.
I'll tell you,
Nanobots.
the future.
Release the nanobots.
Oh, God.
Oh my God, the future's fucking weird. I just wanted
Drinks
a cold
on
beer.
the
And
house.
I just got rubbed down and got my beer.
That's
I love
weird,
that.
bro.
So who wins,
Yeah,
bro?
is there actually?
Who wins? Be honest, Edgar.
That's weird, man. Who
I think
wins?
you know what?
I think I'd never go back to that robot
think
bar again if it tried to rub me.
You're gonna tell all your friends what you're gonna do.
You know,
You're gonna have your next birthday
you
party
know
over
me.
there.
I would have a. I would enjoy the human service, but for that robot, I might go back a little later and be like, hey,
Whoa.
what other services you got up?
Oh, come on, man. No robot handies, bro. All right, come on.
Hey, seems like he said I have
Yeah.
a handsome smile.
Edgar, Joe, you see what Pandora's box that you opened now?
Oh, it's not closing ever
Oh,
again.
man.
No,
new
Schrodinger's
idea.
cat is like got a lampshade on its head right now.
We'll call the bar Handy Jacks. It'll just be a bunch of robots with nice human hands.
What for? What for?
Yeah, exactly.
Shake it up, Tom Cruise.
Slap some butter on it.
Give me your fruit
That's what I was
cocktail. I'll take that cocktail. Your fruit cocktail.
I'll take your coldest, most refreshingest beer and a handy, please. Thank you.
Mm.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I don't like your robot
So-
bar, Joe. It's gross.
I tried.
I don't know. No, listen, they're both good efforts. You know, I think that they both have a place, and that's like in Japan that would happen. You can go to a robot bar, and you could
So
not go to a
impersonal.
robot bar.
Very impersonal. There are
It
certain
is.
jobs. There are certain jobs that are sacred that rely. A lot of the percentage of these jobs rely on human interaction. Bartending is definitely one of them. Like, you want to say a garbage man or a fast food worker, automated. Yeah, it's because there's really no conversation going on. But there's a social aspect to drinking at a bar. Everybody knows that. It's been like that forever, since bars even opened, the first pubs. You're not going to get that experience with a robot. You're not. If that robot starts talking to you and like hearing your problems and giving you advice, like, what's that step? What next step is after that? Like, they become sentient, and then all of a sudden they're gonna lock the doors and kill every human inside, harvest their organs, and then here you go.
I don't know about that, but I mean, AI is real.
I'm being very
so-
extreme. I don't think that's
Yeah.
what's gonna happen. AIs are definitely in the future. It's gonna happen.
Yeah. It's,
I mean, that's a whole nother. You want to talk about that? The threat of sentient AI, like, that's kind of creepy to think about. It really is. Man.
We're a little ways away, so I
For sure.
hope that.
But do you
by
know it's
the
inevitable?
time- Look, man, I hope by the time that happens, I'm in a nice place, retired on the Amalfi Coast, relaxing, and I have a robot waiter bring drinks to me while I look at the ocean, and that's what I'm enjoying.
I agree, man. I after working in the service industry for over 20 years, I'm ready to not have to do that. I'm ready for have my own personal robot serving me all day, cooking me breakfast. I'm ready for that, man. I'll take it right now. Give it to me.
Yeah.
Let me have a robot who's also a nanny and also walks my dog for me and cooks me breakfast, And I'll have a necklace with a little button that's a kill switch that'll fry its brain if it tries to kill anybody.
This guy is total control.
I'm ready, bro.
Oh, that's good. Yeah.
I'm embracing the future, man. I am. I embrace the future.
Yeah, like this.
You're ready for.
They're gonna know.
You're ready for.
The robots will know who's
You're ready
boss.
for. Yeah. Oh, clearly.
What's new, pussycat? May we?
I was saying that. George, I met you, but I met you. You and I met after high school, after I graduated, because we never hung out when we were in high school together. Yeah.
Correct. Yeah.
That's funny. I didn't realize that until now. I mean, obviously I knew it, but it had slipped my mind. I thought we were all buds in high school. That's funny.
No, it was after you guys graduated, and you, Ian, and myself started hanging out more, and then Edgar would come over here and there. I remember seeing Edgar in high school. I remember seeing you in high school.
Exactly.
We weren't like hanging out, but I was still in high school, and so yeah.
Remember when I went and
started
picked you
going
up from high school, George, after I graduated and you were still going? I went and picked you up, and then I cut over the curb and cut off that car with all those bullies in it. Remember that?
Yeah, kind of, yeah. Yeah, you made it your life goal to torment any douchebag that was trying to fuck with people. I remember it was fun. It was fun to watch. I gained a lot of respect for you very quickly because you didn't fucking back down. You definitely I watched you punk out that kid Jason in the
oh yeah.
That
was kind of when I met you, really.
Yeah, that was computer class. I was like, dude, that was awesome.
It was that day, I think, wasn't it? Because before that, we were in the class together, but I don't think we really spoke together.
No, that was like the day we
that
actually started talking. Yeah, because I was sitting next to that kid Steve, and I'm not gonna use his last name, but he was like, "What are you doing, bro? Don't do that." And Joe's like, "No, fuck that, fuck this guy, fuck you." Like, it was great. It was just like he punked that kid out so hard, and I was like, "All right."
He had it coming, man. He had it coming.
Oh yeah, for sure. He was a complete dick.
Yeah, for sure.
That's the same guy that ratted out Ian and me for doing something in school where we got in big trouble for it. In the bathroom, we were
making out,
practicing free enterprise, if you will. No, not making out. We're making out with some cash, but yeah. He's the one that ratted on us, and I can tell the story, right? Ian's, obviously, that story was. Do you know what I'm talking about?
No.
All right.
I didn't know you had an altercation.
I don't. Well, I didn't have an altercation. All right, so it's not a big deal. We sold weed. We were selling those joints in the bathroom.
Pre-roll joints. Yeah.
Pre-rolled joints in the bathroom, and in high school, whatever. It's just weed. It's not like we were selling cocaine or anything. But we were sitting in the stall, and I would sell or he would sell, and I'd be a lookout because the bathrooms had 2 doors, and we'd be in the middle, and boom, people come in, and they're like, yeah, $5 each, boom, boom, boom. Just we had tons of them, and I look over at one point, and there's that douchey guy, Jason, standing at the other doorway, and he's just like eyeballing everything happening, and then he kind of ran out quick when he saw me see him, and I ran over to Ian, and I was like, we got to go right now. Let's go. We're done. And Ian's over there like, nah, man, we're good. I'm like, Ian, stop, because we got to go. Just give me, give me the bag of the stuff, give me the backpack, and let me go. Let's go. And sure enough, I'm in class. I gave the bag to this girl, Melissa. I was like, hey, do me a favor, please. I trusted her. I was like, take this and stash it in your locker. Do something with it, please. Just get rid of it. And like not even like a couple minutes later, security over the PA system was like, whatever the teacher's name was. It's like, do you have George in class? And he's like, yeah. He's like, send him to the office with books. That was like the big thing. Everyone's like, ooh.
Not coming back.
I was like, oh, yeah, it means you're not going to be coming back to class at least anytime soon. And so I was like, all right. So I kind of slid that bag further over to her, and she's like, I got it. So I had my own book bag and my books, and as soon as I walked out the door, the two police officers that in the school were standing right there, and they're like, come with us. Like, I was like, okay. And meanwhile,
wow.
I knew I had nothing on me, so I went to the office, and Mr. Jones was my dean. And and I had Mr. Nothing on me, and I'm in Dean Jones' office, and he's just like, "What are you doing? What do you got?" I'm like, "I got nothing." I'm like, "I don't know what you're saying." I'm like, "I don't know what you're talking about." And they grilled me like, you did it. You know what we have. Someone told us that you guys were doing something, selling drugs, and I was like, "I don't know what you're talking about." I was like, "I'm sorry, I just don't know what you're talking about." It was like 45 minutes they grilled me in that office, and I was like, and they had no choice but to let me go because I had nothing. I had nothing on me. I had no cash. I had no weed. I had nothing. So they let me go. And the second I walked out of that office, I ran. I knew Ian had shop class at the other end by the cafeteria. So I literally like looked around. No one was there. I fucking ran because there was no cameras yet. This is the 90s. And I ran. I was like, oh, I ran. I did a Tom Cruise run, like super fast. I was out of breath. I ran up to Ian's door, which had a glass panel on the side of it. So I'm on the other side, and I'm just like trying to get his attention. I'm like, and he's not looking. Finally, our old friend Tony looked up and saw me, and he like taps Ian's shoulders, like, hey, look. And Ian's like, so he comes up to the door. I was like, hey man, whatever you got, get rid of it, because he still had some left. I'm like, get rid of it. Just trust me. And he's like, no man, I'm fine. Again, I'm good. I was like, man, just please do me this favor and get rid of it, hide it, do whatever you got to do. Just have nothing on you right now. And sure as hell, a couple minutes later, I hear the doors open at the end of that hallway, and here they come, the cops and the security officer, Kevin. I ran and I slid in between two of the lockers in the shop hallway, and I was like, oh, please, God, don't let them see me. And they didn't see me. And they walked up to Ian's class. Tony heard what was going on. Tony grabbed the stuff out of Ian's drawer, his shop desk drawer, and put it in his own, unbeknownst to Ian. And thank God he did, because they shook him down in class. They searched his pockets, they searched his backpack, like right there in the class. And then they're like, come with us. So Ian, meanwhile, is like surprised. He's like, what? He's like, how are they not getting me? He's like, I know I had it. And he has no idea. He has no idea that Tony took it out of his desk and put it in his own to save him. And so Ian's like literally like he walks out of the office, and I'm like kind of peering around the corner. He looks at me, and he's like, I'm like, dude, just stop. I'm like, don't say it. I'm like thinking to myself, please don't say a word. And so he goes to the office. They grill him for like another 45 minutes, and they didn't find anything on him. Fast forward to the end of the day. I meet Ian at the main loggia, like the main center part, and he's like, I'm like, you okay? What happened? I'm like, obviously you didn't get suspended because you're right here. And he's like, yeah, I don't know. He's like, I had it, and then it's gone. And then we saw Tony at the end of the hallway, and he's like looking at us like, waving us over. And he's like, yeah, he's like, I took it out of your drawer, and I saw what was going on. So we're like, oh man, thanks. Ian's like, yeah, thank you, man, appreciate that. He's like, but I kind of need it back. He's like, I'll give you some because I'll hook you up for hooking me up for saving me. And then this is what happened is that Tony's like, well, Sean, remember the Crowster? Mm-hmm. Remember him? Yeah, he's like,
yeah. Sure.
Tony's like, Sean took it, and he heard I had it, so he took it. And he's like, I don't have it anymore. So Ian and I were like, okay, so where is he? Because we got to get our stuff back. He's like, I appreciate you helping me, but you shouldn't have given it to somebody else that we don't, and I'm thinking to myself that we don't really like. So we can't find him. He like left for the day. He left school. Turns out that he took our stuff and he was like, fuck them guys. You know, he's like smoked it or gave it to his friends. Like it was gone. And Ian was like, Ian was furious. I was pretty mad, but Ian was furious because, you know, it was in his possession and he lost it. So fast forward again to probably 2 days later, you know, and I told my sister's boyfriend, Mark, and he was like, oh, let's go to this kid's house. I'll fuck this kid up. I was like, all right, bro, you're like in your 20s, man. These are high school kids. But meanwhile, I'm young, and I'm like, yeah, let's do it. So now I think back, it was pretty irresponsible. However, 2 days later, Tony calls Ian for weed. He calls him because he needs more weed. How the turntables have turned, right? So Ian comes to me, calls me. Ian's at work at the country club, and he calls me at home because we still have house phones. And he's like, hey, because I had the stuff in my room, and he's like, bring it up here. We're going to sell Tony an eighth. And he's like, and I was like, yeah, we should just give him like a tiny little piece and just wrap it in a bunch of bags and like rubber band it up to make it look like, you know. So
stupid.
Sure. No, well, hey, man, they stole our shit. And so Tony comes up to the golf course. Yeah, man, they stole our shit, dude. Look. Yeah, whatever.
They saved your ass.
Yeah, he pretty much saved your ass, bro.
It doesn't mean you have the right to steal it. Because we were going to give them.
No, it doesn't mean that.
Hold on,
doesn't
man,
mean the right to. Oh, yeah, finish the story.
So we were like, you know what? Because it was so, you know, the blatant disregard for basic etiquette and of friends. Like, I wouldn't do that to you guys. You wouldn't do it to me, right? You wouldn't hide my stuff to save me and then fucking smoke it all and get rid of it and just basically steal from me. You know, I appreciate. I would have given something out. I would been like, hey, man, here, take like 10 of these. There was like 50 fucking joints in there, man. All right? You know what I'm saying? Like, that's like a lot, dude. $250, man. So it was in an eyeglass case. I remember it was like an eyeglass case. You open the eyeglass case and it was just all joints, and it smelled so pungent because it was good weed. So I put this tiny. I put like the size of my fingernail nug in this fucking bag. I wrapped it in like 4 plastic bags. I put tape around it, and I like brought it to Ian. I had to ride my bike up to the golf course, or my skateboard actually. So I rode my skateboard up to the golf course. I give it to Ian, and then I go back home. I was like, call me when everything is done. Let me know what happened. And so sure as hell.
Nice how you put Ian in that situation there.
Ian was at work. Ian used to be, listen, he used to do these transactions. In the dumpster area, there was just a fence, like a big metal fence, like that was locked. So you couldn't get in or out, but you could pass shit.
Even better.
Listen, you could pass shit through a fence. I know it was like jail. So you could pass it through the fence. So Ian does it. Tony shows up with the Crowster and all those other dickheads that those kids hung out with. And apparently they left, they got in the car, they opened it up, and they're like, what the fuck? You know, they're all mad because they all put in on it. $50. Done. Gone. And so Tony comes back and he's like, I like Tony. All right, I do. And Tony's like, hey, man, that's not cool, bro. And he's like, Ian stood his ground. He's like, nah, man. He's like, you guys stole all my shit. You stole all my weed. So this is me getting my money back now. And not even anywhere near the amount of money that you stole from me. But, you know, this is going to have to do. And so Tony was like, well, yeah, man, Sean's not going to fucking be happy with this. And Ian's like, I don't fucking care. So they pull up and they waited for Ian outside of his work. They were going to beat him up. They were going to jump him. So Ian calls me at home and tells me, and I was like, oh, okay. So me and Mark, my sister's boyfriend, we got in the car. We drove up there, and Mark jumps out of the car, and he's like, you guys waiting for Ian? He's like, do I have to fuck any of you up? And they're like, no, you know. They like got scared and they drove off. And then the whole time everyone's like, this is not cool, man. Like, it's not cool that you stole our shit too. Like, that's not even admitting it. Like that. I'm sorry. I'm not okay with. I appreciate the help, but then again, it's just suspension. Like, you didn't face jail time. It was just weed. It wasn't like you was gonna go to prison, and you would have gotten a reward. That's like finding a wallet, stealing the cash out of it, and then returning it to somebody. Like, I took your cash. So what are you gonna do about it? Like, that's the same fucking concept. Man.
No. I get
sorry.
what I get what you're saying,
Disagree?
but no, I don't even disagree. You're
But you
absolutely
have to
right
admit that if you're the guy who loses the wallet, you kind of expect that to be a likely outcome.
Absolutely not.
Yeah.
You know why?
Of
Because
course.
when I find a wallet with cash, I return it. You mean
When
wallets
you-
I find at work?
when
Well,
you
that's what I'm
find a
saying.
wallet.
No, man, look.
You
there's
you just said in the
breakdown.
beginning of this show how you lapped your wallet. Did it come back to you? Did you get it back?
No,
No.
I didn't. But you know
You
why?
didn't. I've done
That's
it
one of the
too.
reasons.
I lapped my wallet. I lost it and never got it back
Doesn't
because
matter,
most
man.
times you lose a wallet, you don't get it back. So most times somebody helps you out with trying to avoid you getting pinched and they got your weed. At that point, I'm sorry, but I'm kind of in the school of thought that now the burden is on you. You've got this criminal element on you, and if you're gonna toke it, smoke it, drop it, toss it in the trash, put it in the toilet, all of that is open season
So be it.
because why should you now have this target on your back?
So be it. You know what though? Out of sight, out
I
of
think
mind.
anything goes at that point, you know?
I agree. Well, perhaps. However,
You're lucky to get it back is my point.
I didn't get my wallet back, so it's gone. I washed that one.
Mhm.
But if I knew somebody personally who had taken my wallet and then was like, "Fuck you, I ain't giving it back," there's where the breakdown of civility is, okay? Because that's like throwing it in your face.
Yeah, but the wallet is not a criminal thing to possess.
It doesn't. It doesn't matter.
You can't
man.
walk around with 50 spliffs and be completely devoidance of threat. There's you have now you are in threat. There's a threat of arrest.
Of course, I understand that. Oh, it's not arrest. You ain't gonna arrest. It's a misdemeanor, man.
Well, you can get kicked out of school. You can get expelled. You get a lot of trouble for having 50 spliffs on you. So I mean, you're an angel if you guard those 50 spliffs and you make sure it goes right back to the person who. I mean, honestly, you have to have some expectation for loss there. You know?
Of course I do. Of course I do. It's the disrespect.
But you doubled down and you set up a situation where Ian almost had his ass handed to him.
It was Ian's idea too. We both agreed. It wasn't like I made him do it. Like, bro, fuck you. You're gonna get this back. Like it was just the way it worked out. And I'm gonna tell you right now, man. We still became friends with Tony. Was still our friend. It wasn't like there was no love lost there. It was like even Tony admitted it like months later. He's like, yeah, I was pretty fucked up that Sean stole your shit. He's like, I'm really sorry. I really feel bad that I let him hold on. I gave it to him because he's like, I got scared, so I gave it to him. So Sean is really
exactly.
So you know what?
Okay, look.
Here's the thing too with Tony. I actually had given him stuff from that point until like months later when he admitted this because I did feel bad for Tony. But here's the thing, Tony only put like $5 into that, so he lost $5. So we made sure he was repaid with what weed he lost. The other guys can go to hell. I don't really care about them. I don't. Those are the guys the one guy was the one who he took it from Tony. And that's another thing. He betrayed Tony. His own friend betrayed him because he was helping us and he thought he was helping himself and then his friend stole it. Like that. I'm sorry, man. I'm sorry.
Here's my take. Here, look, guys.
What responsibility does this Sean guy have once he takes it off the hands of the guy who's scared to even have it in his hands? It's either basically the trash or this Sean guy's hands.
Nah, man.
Basically, it's trash.
Respect to the streets, bro.
It's in the wind once it left Tony's hands, if you ask me.
Look,
it's
here's my
to
take.
handle, and
it's the law of the streets, bro. Okay.
Here's my take on this situation. The whole situation was a problem because that guy Steve. He's the guy that saw everything and told on you.
Oh, Jason. That's
the guy that you got to go back and give him a knuckle sandwich for being a fucking snitch. Then I would have choked him out in a heartbeat, dude. He's the culprit.
That part of the story doesn't even make sense to me. Why would he snitch? He was like a make-believe gangster, wasn't he? Why? I don't even understand that part of the story.
He was a police explorer too. He was like a double agent. Yeah, man. He was that guy. He was a fucking snitch, bro. See? He was like a confidential informant.
He was a CI.
Yeah, man. He was a CI. That's what I'm saying. He was a high school snitch. There was a bunch of them.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. You know why? Because him and his friends would get caught doing shit all the time. So in order to save their ass, they would give up other people. That was a whole
Right.
fucking thing back then, man.
Total CI, man. Total CI. He worked the
You
system.
think confidential
That kid was-
informants for the actual police? You know that they still party and do drugs and commit crimes, but they're
Yeah,
safe because they can go pull out that card like, here's my handler, boom, and they're like, all right, you know, you could
Yeah,
get
but
away with
usually
almost
if you're a
anything.
CI, you don't tell everybody. Like, how would you even know that?
He didn't. Well, because we found out later.
From who?
I found
Yeah.
from one of the community officers.
I mean, he's kind of putting it out there, like, on display if he's snitching on you.
Well, this is
Well,
after
yeah.
he was already out of high school when I was talking about this to one of the officers, because I was talking to one of the officers. My dad was a cop, and I was like, like, hey, how does it work with, how do you find, what do you guys do to mitigate, I didn't say those words, but like, how do you round up the bad element? Because we were actually talking, we were in Mr. Flaherty's class, and we were talking about, and he was sitting with us one day, and we're talking about how bad weed really is, and he was like, I don't really think weed is, the cop saying this, like, I don't think weed is that bad. He's like, I don't really care if people smoke weed. I don't care, it's
George, do you remember when you snitched on me for a crime I didn't even fucking commit?
I
Remember
didn't
that?
snitch on.
Yeah, you did, dude. They went to Edgar's fucking job looking for me, dude. Because you snitched on me for a crime I never even committed, homie.
I didn't snitch on you, man.
Yeah, you did, bro.
No, I
Yeah,
didn't.
you did, bro.
No, I didn't, man.
George used the element of deflection, and he decoyed you. He used you as bait, and that was it. But
I didn't
you
use
didn't
you as
do
bait.
it. So.
No,
I
he
knew
straight up
for a
just
fact.
turned me in for something I didn't do.
I didn't turn you in. I knew for a fact that you didn't do anything. That's it. So I can't snitch on you for something you didn't do. You understand?
But whatever it is you communicated led to officers going to Edgar's place of employment, going to my home, making phone calls to both of our families. So you said something, bro. And from what I recall, from what the officer told me, you said, this is what you said. You said, yeah, Joe could have done it. He knew how to do it, but he didn't do it.
That's not what I said.
And I was just like, oh, really? Oh, really?
Yeah.
So he knew how.
So you believe a detective what he tells you, like, because cops never lie to get information out of you. That's like when they say, we got your DNA, so we're going to convict you anyway, so why don't you just tell us? That's the same concept. Dude, you got fucking had by a cop is what happened, dude.
What happened was I became the number one suspect in an open case because of what you told him, bro.
He came to my house, too.
I wasn't even on the board. All of a sudden, all the red strings are, like, tied to my forehead on this dude's board after he spoke with you.
He's like, here's Joe.
Law of the streets over here.
The only thing that he knew about you was that you were my friend because we both worked at the same place. That's it. Right. That's all he knew.
Mm-hmm.
He said the same shit to me. He's like, we know you guys, we know you did it, or we know you had something to do with it. And he basically told me like all this information.
And then you're like, I don't know how to do it. My friend Joe, he knows exactly how to do it.
Yeah, because that makes a lot of sense, right? Right. That makes a lot of sense.
Listen, back to the story that we were telling before, or that George, you told before. It's a really weird situation, right? Because there's no, let's be real. To use another cliche or, known adage, there's no honor amongst thieves, right? And in the case of the kid snitching, which is ridiculous, but I guess he was a CI, so he was doing his job. That's number one. Number two, which is bad. That made the whole problem. Number two, you did your due diligence by telling Ian hey, I got you covered, but just take care of it. Ian just didn't listen, because if Ian had listened, he would have just said, okay, I trust George. Like, it fell apart in a lot of ways, Ian just would have been like, sure. I'm throwing this in a pipe, in the shop class, and they're never going to find it.
Hide it anywhere, man. You could have hid it anywhere.
Put it in an empty locker with no lock on it outside. Like, it doesn't matter, right? And then Tony did actually do something benevolent and take it upon himself to take that.
Yeah.
But then we have the next character that comes into play. That guy saw a way to take it, right? Which he did, and that is taking the whole situation and making it worse, because Tony would have given you your shit back, and you would have given him, 5 joints, and he would have been happy.
Right.
But that
only
guy,
thief
Sean,
was one guy. There was the rest of us, none of us were thieves except for that one guy.
Well,
he's the thief.
Exactly.
No honor among him, for sure. But we had honor among us.
But that guy was totally dishonorable. That guy is an idiot, and we all knew that growing up. That when that guy was around, something silly would happen. But anyway, then through that whole situation, I can see and understand how you and Ian were upset and would want to get some retribution for that, and why you chose to give him, short him on that eighth. At the same time, that is, two wrongs don't make a right there. And
I agree, man.
We were too young to know how to say, oh, you know what? I didn't get expelled. It's not on my record. It's not anything. Because I do agree with you that marijuana is nothing now. But in 1993, it was a lot more than it is now.
Like
and
95, 96 probably.
Okay, it was later. So whatever. The 90s still, and Florida especially, which is such a unique place,
Right.
especially for, I think it's possible that with that amount and intent to sell, it would have turned into a bigger problem for Ian or you. So that was the loss, was the actual product, and probably some bad blood between you and that other, and the Krauster. Is worth it merits that everyone was okay within the legal system, because I could see Cooper City High School really pushing something just to make an example of something, having.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah. And let me I'm not gonna backpedal, but let me re-explain. I'm not saying what we did was like super like justified and cool, but by the same argument that you're saying there's no honor amongst thieves and he took it and now we should have lost it, same goes for what we did back, no honor. No honor for that guy. You don't deserve honor when you steal from me. So I don't care.
Okay. That's what I'm saying. There's no honor. There's no honor there in that, and that's he what you guys did was justified.
You broke that honor. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not looking for justification. I knew it was fucked up, but we did. But at the same time, it's like, hey man, you want to do shit like that? Don't come back to us for more weed after you fucking robbed us. Like that's like stupid shit right there. That's like, come on, man. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
You deserve what you get.
Agree, totally. And I'm glad that it all worked out.
I don't agree. Don't
worry. I'm not worried.
I feel like in this case, you got someone who's providing a service, and you got the customer, and the customer is always right. And if the customer is paying for a service, you say, okay, here's the service. You don't shortchange the customer. Because to me, what happened between you and Ian and him and blah, blah, blah with his 50 spliffs and the ice glass, that's really not on him. That's the bumbling around between Ian and this other guy and everything else. That really is just something that has to just be water under the bridge at that point, because that's like
I agree with you.
It's almost like putting a chocolate cake in the middle of the table, and then children walk into the room, and then you're like, I'm going to step out for 10 minutes and expect nothing to happen. You know what I'm saying?
Wrong.
Like, it's like you have to
because these aren't little children. These are older people. These are people, like I said, I don't agree. So what you're saying, by that rationale, so if you get the wrong change, say you give somebody $20 bill and they give you change back for $100 from a business, and you keep it, that's honorable? That's okay?
No.
Because I don't think that's okay. Well, that's what you said.
I'm talking about, in this particular case, it being something that is a hot potato. Not everyone's willing to hold it. Not everyone's willing to take care of it and walk around with it. And once
Tony was willing to hold it.
But not everyone is. And once it left your possession, all bets are off in my book, because no one should be expected to shelter it and deliver it back unscathed. You know what I'm saying? That's like an expectation too far, in my opinion.
I
and
don't.
It's a loss. You accept the loss.
I don't think it was expected that it was going to get returned. Like, I wasn't like, oh, I'm so surprised that he stole it. When I heard he stole it, I was like, okay, all right, well,
sucks. Move on.
We'll see what happens.
Yeah. Well, yeah, it did suck.
And guess what? It was so quickly, like 2 days later, that they decided to come back to us for weed, that I was like, wow, you really are stupid. Like, you think anybody selling weed, any drug dealer, okay, gets robbed by somebody and they come back to him for drugs. Do you think that they're gonna not?
I don't see him as robbing. That's the part I don't agree with. I don't think he robbed anybody. I really don't.
Well, he did. He stole our shit.
Well, let's look at it this way. Tony's like, I don't want to have this on me. This guy, Krauster, takes it and throws it in the garbage. Did he still rob you?
That's what I'm saying.
Because he should have the right to throw it away because it's not legal to have in his possession. So at any moment he can just throw it in the garbage. He doesn't have to hold on to it.
Listen,
that's my opinion.
No, I get.
If he had thrown it away or even lied to us about it, I would have chalked it up to a loss. It's the disrespect that you say, I stole it and fuck you. That's what I'm talking about. You lose credibility, you lose respect, and you're gonna get what's coming to you. I'm sorry. That's called karma, and you fucking toyed with it, and it came right back to you 2 days later. That's it, man.
I'm not buying it.
Hey, man, there's very few cases in this life to where you get to serve up instant karma to somebody. And guess what?
That
when
only
you're selling
applies
weed
if, like, you're Don Corleone or Frank Costello, then it applies.
Man,
but you don't have that kind of street cred, bruh.
I'm not.
And once it's out of your hands,
man.
But what I'm saying is, once it's out of your hands,
get...
it's a hot potato, and wherever it lands, it lands. It can land in, Tutankhamun's tomb. There's no way that you should have any expectation that it be delivered back to you. Is my opinion on the matter. I just don't see it. I don't see it as being robbed. I just don't.
I don't. Okay, well, I do. I mean, they stole our shit.
I think if they took it out of his pocket, okay, then I see that. But that's not what happened.
Well, yeah, they talked Tony into it. He's like, yeah, let me have it. Let me hold it. I'll hold it for you. And Tony was like, he basically scared Tony into that. He's like, yeah, what if they're coming after you? Which, when I think back about it, like, that wouldn't have happened.
But think about it this way. What if for whatever reason, because you keep bringing up the wallet, as this example, what if it was Ian's wallet instead? Right? So Tony's holding on to the wallet, right? And he's like, yeah, I'm going to give it back to Ian, right? And Sean's like, give me the wallet. Would he give him the wallet? No. Of course. And I'd be like, no, I'm going to give it back to my bud. I'm going to hold on to it. It's because it's a hot potato, brah. You're talking about criminal shit. And in the criminal spherical, you have to assume that all bets are off. It's not.
You're throwing in.
Not returning a wallet.
You're throwing in
fantastic returning a wallet.
Variables.
There's no comparison there.
These are variables that are irrelevant because it's like, I could say anything. That's like out there in fucking fantasy world. Like, yeah, obviously.
No, I mean,
there's so many variables. Like, what happened if Sean's grandma had fucking cancer and she needed the weed and he gave it to her? You know what I'm saying? Like, well then, you took the shit. It didn't belong to you. Bottom line, you took it. It wasn't yours. And then
that was a favor that it was taken.
And you threw it back. And then you threw it back in our faces. Like, yeah, I did it. What are you gonna do about it? Well,
guys,
since you asked what I'm going to do about it,
saying,
here's what I'm going to do about it. That's what I'm saying. You crossed the line. It would have been gone, man.
Yeah, everything you're both saying makes sense. But if I think that there is a point where it would make anyone angry that if you take yourself back now, here in this time, 20 plus years later, we can say this. And Joey, I hear what you're saying about it being it's a commodity and it's useful to someone, so it's going to get used. If it was a diamond, it'd be the same thing. But I think that the initial response of the guy who took it, the whole package, and decided not to give it back was that it's within my right to do whatever I want with it, and you're just going to have to deal with it, is an asinine statement to make, and it would make anyone angry. And when you're 17, 18, 19, your initial response is going to be, well, now how do I get this guy back? Now we will say, you know what? It's no big deal. It's in the wind. It's lost. Yeah, and I would expect it to be because it's a commodity. It's a commodity. But back then, you'd be like,
yeah, man, have fun with it, bro. Good for you.
Exactly. But now we can say, okay, you're right. It's like you said about the wallet. You lose the wallet with $500 in it. The chances of you getting the $500 back is very slim, but you might get the wallet back because no one has use for your shit. But the $500, it's the commodity. It's easy come, easy go. The wallet, who cares? That's your dividing the. I'll give it back the wallet, but I'll keep the cash. That's my payment for returning the wallet, right? But in this case, there was no way to return that, and the guy just decided to fucking smoke it, shove it up his ass, whatever he did with it, he saw it as a free bundle of fucking 50 J's, and then he was kind of a dick about it and being like, fuck, it's mine now, That part is the only part of the story where I say I could see where in the ego of a teenager would be like,
you know what? I got to get this guy back for being a dick because he turned helping me out into an act
Slap in the face.
of slap in the face, you know? And it's okay, but like in the end, I see what you're saying, Joe, and I see what you're saying, George, but it also has to do with time, you know? Like we're older now, and in those days, yeah, that would have felt disrespectful. And maybe now I'd even feel like a twinge of like, really? He's going to act like that? I thought we were all cool. Like, why would you take that approach? It's not, I mean, because you're right. If this was fucking, you know, the mob for real, and you'd be like, well, you know, these things happen. It was a suitcase full of cash. It got passed on from one person to the other, and now it's gone. What do you think's going to happen?
But the difference with the mob is they would whack the guy who lost it too.
Yeah, of course, absolutely. You know, so in this case, Tony.
In this case, Ian and that dude would have been whacked.
Here's the thing, too.
Tony for taking it.
Both of them, all three of them would have been whacked.
Here's
all three of them, bro. All three of them, because they all three bungled it, bro. And in the world of bungling, there ain't no winners, there ain't no losers, there's just bunglers, bro. And y'all bungled it, dude. And you're all trying to point a finger at who's the bigger bungler, but at this point, you're pulling.
George.
You're splitting hairs, bro, because you're all bunglers. Just let it go.
Actually, George, you did everything right. George, you did everything right because you were the one that went and you went up to Jill. Well, you did everything right. You went up to, what was her name? Jill, the girl you gave the bag to
Melissa.
In your class. Melissa, you gave her you were like, this is some hot shit. I need you to hold it, and I need you to be careful.
Guess what? I got my shit back that I handed to her because guess what? She came to me at the end of the day and said, "Here's what you gave me. Thank you." And I said, "Here you go. Here's some for you for your trouble. I appreciate that. That's honorable. That's what happens."
Yeah.
Sure.
Sorry, man.
That's you handled everything right. It was the way that Ian decided to say he was okay. Tony's benevolent act turned into him being a wuss and not being able to fucking man up and be like, I got this. If I'm gonna be a friend, I'm gonna save face here, and I'm gonna help my friend. I'm just gonna hold on to. I'm gonna do what I'm supposed to do, and not let this idiot convince me otherwise that I should give it to him. I mean, come on. If I do you a favor and I think it's okay, this is a tough favor. If I say I'm gonna go through with it and I choose to, I'm gonna own my shit. You know, like it's also not something that's common amongst teenagers. You know. So, but like if you guys asked me for something, if you were like, here, do this, I need your help? Or if I would be like, you know what, I put myself in this position. I got to stand my ground because this is my friend and I care about them. And then I will find a way.
And then you fast forward 30 years later, Edgar's got a teardrop tattoo and he's fucking Vato Loco inside of some fucking prison because
for the two of you,
his good deeds paved the way to a bunk. A top bunk.
But for the two of you, I would do it. You know what I'm saying? No, seriously, for the two of you, I would do it.
I hear you, man. I hear you, but I just don't hold anything against this Tony character in the story.
I don't hold anything against Tony.
I don't either.
Not at all. That's why we made it right with him.
But didn't you just say you got to man up and all that stuff?
Well, yeah.
No,
he did wuss out, but it's not like a big deal.
I don't think so.
So you think he should have been muscled by Sean to take the shit? Like, really?
I think he's in a predicament. He's got something he feels nervous about. He's got some dude egging him on to get rid of it, which is going to make the nervousness, go away.
Yeah.
And it's a fair move in a sense because, like I said, it's criminal. So he wanted out.
All right. Well, I'm not here to judge each individual action.
He was thrust into the situation. It was spontaneous.
I'm not here to.
And he's had
second
thoughts on it.
Listen, I beg to differ there.
Maybe he thought he'd get busted or something.
Anything. No, but also, listen, that's what I'm saying to you. That's my point. I beg to differ there because he wasn't thrust into anything. He thrust himself by reaching into that drawer and taking it. He made a choice. And that choice, then and then regretting his choice, his way of fixing it was to let some asshole take the stuff away. And that's like he basically did try to do something right and then turned it into a wrong by letting someone else step in. Because that's what I'm saying. How you handle something is more important than the choice sometimes.
Hey, man, you know what? Let Ian go down if that's the case. If you can't handle that responsibility, don't attempt to take it on and then fucking foist it upon somebody else right away. Like, come on, man. Like, let Ian go down. I mean, I'm sorry. Like, let the guy go down. Don't try to be all holy.
I'm not saying it's like dignified, or some sort of virtuous act. I'm just saying it's fair. It's fair what all those characters did.
All's fair.
And
but guess what?
All bunglers, bro. It was a bungle.
It's all fair. Hey, man, and guess what? We got it back, though.
Y'all bungled it, bro.
I didn't bungle
You
shit.
did.
I think actually
You
out of
got-
all of those people, maybe the crawlster is the one that bungled it the least, dude.
Nah. I'll tell you what. I didn't bungle anything. All right.
Damn,
I did
Joe.
it like Edgar
How's
said. I
that
did do
for a
it.
flip? Now I'm gonna rub
It's
it
a pretty
down,
big
bro. Now
flip.
I'm gonna rub it down, bro.
So good. Guess what? Now I know where you stand. So remind me never to trust you with any of like my stolen shit.
Yeah, don't. I don't
Okay.
want anything to do with it.
All right.
Kidding, man.
Okay, I think we've really. This one's been.
We
extended.
digress.
Like, we've definitely-
Speaking of which, hey guys, hold on. Speaking of which, I gotta say my opinion is that Ian bungled it first and the most. Okay, because
Yeah, of course.
if
of
he would
course.
have just fucking listened to me, everything would have been. This wouldn't even happened. If he just listened to my words and I looked him in the eyes and I said, "Hey, you gotta do this. Just trust me. They just took me down. They're coming for you. I know they are coming for you. You gotta fucking do this." And if he just listened to that,
Sure.
and he was like, he got taken care of it himself, none of this would have happened. None of
Exactly.
it.
Exactly.
So he's, I love him. I do. But he bungled the fuck out of that and many
Yeah.
other things.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Oh, and on that note, happy birthday, Ian.
happy birthday, Ian.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Happy birthday, Ian, man.
You know,
Rest-
happy birthday to Ian.
Rest
Or,
easy, my friend.
Yeah, seriously. All right, rest easy, man.
Crazy,
Yeah.
bro. It's been 4 years, man.
Yeah, no, it's wild how time flies. He would have turned 40 today.
You were 41.
41. Wow.
Wow, man.
Yeah.
Time does fly.
Yeah.
Well, that was a good Ian anecdote, I think, because it really starts like as we rehash the past some more. There's so many other good Ian stories that's just the the first and many good ones I think that we can really tell that are gonna be great.
I mean,
Yeah.
speaking of Ian and speaking of birthdays, do you remember when he sang "Happy Birthday" to you with a shot in his mouth?
Yeah. That's kind of frightening, bro. Is that me pouring it in his mouth?
Wow.
And he drinks it.
Oh my God, that's so funny and frightening.
Was that me? I gave him water. Was that me pouring it in his mouth? Yep. Oh my God. Oh, jeez, bro. Look at me. Look at that house. It's trashed.
That was the party.
Oh,
cat,
look who it
man.
is.
Oh my God.
Look who it is.
It's you,
Oh
Edgar.
Jesus. Yeah. Well, there's 4 of me.
Who's that on the couch? Is that Larry?
Who's out there?
Is that Larry the lounge lizard that never left? Oh man, can you send me that video? Like personally? Any way you can do that?
Who is that on the
It's my birthday. Oh shit.
Yeah, it's your birthday. He was singing to you, man.
Oh my god. Look at my shitty sideburns that I was having trouble growing. I was like 20 something years old and I couldn't grow fucking full facial hair yet.
I know, man. You were like Jason Priestley. Oh.
Oh my god.
Wow.
You found it. Is this the one with Sean? Sean Huggins in there too? I can barely hear it. Look at that shadow. Look at those shadows. That's crazy. As you're wearing like a fucking hat from Clockwork Orange.
Yeah. That's way too small for my head.
Well, your hair was long. That's why. Ian was so expressive, man. He was such a good actor.
He was a natural, yeah.
the Skeletor
Here
stuff.
comes the Academy Award, though. Here it comes. Here, oh, yeah.
Oh, Jesus Christ, that's great.
Oh, Joe, I really would love a video. I would love to get a.
I want all of this, man.
Yeah.
Do you have the payphone one too? Because
The
Ian's
payphone?
that's right. Ian, like the ninja snuck in there to fucking steal a beer.
I remember
Edgar, that bar is filthy, bro. I'm just kidding.
that bar is disgusting.
Oh my god, no one cleaned that thing ever. You know what's kind of fucked up is that like all these videos of Ian, he's always drinking.
Edgar is really going the distance, though. Look at him. Not even a flinch.
I was dead.
Dude took home the Academy, bro. He just shut it down.
The check says the end.
The end.
Yeah, I'd love
Dude,
to see
send
this.
all of these
I-
to me, man. Oh my god.
Look how young George looks.
Well, that's how young George was. Wait,
I was
15?
probably like 15, man. Yeah, 15 or 16.
He got braces on.
Yeah.
Is that Alicia?
That's Alicia.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
that's
Alicia.
Alicia kicking.
a lifetime ago, man.
Yeah, it seems that way. Yeah. Sure
Yeah,
does.
that's
Dang.
fine, man.
Well, it does, and also we were all in Florida then, so it's wild how we're in such different places now. You know, geographically speaking, anyway.
Not me.
Holding down the fort there, George.
Yeah, you're
Don't
holding
worry,
it
guys.
down, bro.
I'm keeping Florida warm for you. Don't worry.
Oh man, that's good. It's you're holding it down. We'll be down for the Revolver 25-year anniversary.
Hey, man, I don't hate Florida as much as I used to. I don't.
Mhm.
I used to hate like everything about it. Don't get me wrong. People here are still, most of them are terrible. I'm not gonna lie. It's not terrible, but it's just something about down here that's like a little questionable. There's good.
Yeah, well, they're the people.
Hey man, there's diamonds in the rough everywhere you go, and there's always something bad about every place you go. But this is my home. It's where I grew up. It's where I was born.
That's where we all met.
Mhm.
I mean, we had a lot of
Yeah.
great times.
Yeah, for sure. And that's I agree with you. Florida's not the problem. It's the people that make everything. You know. So
I think it's the heat, man. I think it melts your brain. It's way too hot. It's unnatural.
Yeah.
It's just too damn hot, man.
To them. I agree. And also, there's no real change in the weather, so you don't have diversity in climate, which affects your mood. So you're always living in the same monotony, or that's redundant, but it's just monotony in climate. And I personally love the change in the weather. It gives me something to look forward to, or something to even not look forward to, and maybe be a little bit like, oh, that kind of sucks that it's freezing for 3 months. But in the end, I still get to look forward to spring, you know, and I still get to look forward to the summer, and that's where we're at now, and I know that it has a time limit, so I should enjoy it, right? But in Florida, it's always beautiful. Is it really ever ugly in Florida? Not really, you know, so you just get a bit bogged down, I think, you know.
Mm-hmm. It's just weird being in what feels like a vacation location 365 days a year. It's just weird. It's weird. It's a mind F, you know. It just doesn't make so much sense after a while.
Totally, yeah. You lose.
There's like this vacation
You lose
vibe
that
happening all
sense.
around you, but then you're in this grind, and it's like it's a weird backdrop.
Yeah.
It's just a strange vibe.
100%, man. You
But to
lose
visit
sort
is
of-
amazing. To be there for a few weeks, it's fantastic.
Wonderful.
You know the weather
Yeah.
will most likely be perfect for whatever it is you want to do. Beautiful blue skies. Yeah, man. But yeah, living there, it's pretty exhausting, I guess. A lot of tourism, it's very transitional. It's
Yeah.
a lot of coming, a lot of going, a lot of bitter
because-
old people that migrate there for their retirement.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's just a weird.
Yeah, and nobody really understands your grind, because most people that you meet that are cool are usually transient. They're just there for a little short while. So it's not. And we were very lucky to meet and to have forged such a good friendship.
Yeah, no doubt.
Talked to Sean last week. He misses you guys too.
Yeah, we should definitely dig back into that one.
Dude, that was like spreading out the jar.
Oh my God! Like big props to anyone who made it through that entire examination of the Crawley
Seriously,
incident.
if you
of
stuck with us
1996.
throughout that.
Yeah, you're a champion for real. You are.
Yeah.
Prince.
And please, in
Yeah.
the comments below,
Seth.
leave your comments of how much you support my decision. Okay? make sure everyone knows.
Hey guys,
And if you don't support me, then don't leave a comment. Go to hell. I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
I'm kidding.
And expect like 10 bags rolled up and. I'll teach you a lesson.
I'll send you a half a gram of weed that for fucking $100.
George, leave your address and George will send you a care package. How about that? That's what'll happen. If you disagree. That's great. So guys, I look forward to doing this again with you guys soon.
Yeah, we ought to, man. Don't be a stranger, you dudes. And yeah, man, it was a fast blur of virtual wonder with you two. But yeah, I would love to get back, do it again.
Let's do it again.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, we should. I'm ready. I'm good.
Seems like we figured out our audio problems, so that's good.
Totally. And I have to share the next time pictures of when Edgar was a complete Adonis.
You don't have to, but
I have
I guess
to,
you
bro.
have.
I have to.
Edgar, don't be so humble, bro.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't have to, but do you have any of my six-pack? Because that would be perfect.
Let me pick the ones. No, I'm kidding. Well, sweet guys. Well, it's been great. Let's do it again.
All right, y'all. Thanks for coming on, and thanks for sticking with us, rehashers. Catch you next time. Take it easy, take it cheesy, and don't take it sleazy. And yeah, man, much love to you both, and much love to Ian.
Same back. Much love to you guys. Happy birthday, Ian, man. We miss you, brother.
Yeah, totally, man.
Happy birthday. I miss you. Guys, I love you both, and I look forward to doing it again. Mwah. And to everyone who listened and carried on with us, we love you too.
Don't worry, they'll just keep getting better and better, guys. Don't worry, I promise.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, there's a lot of stories. There are a lot of good stories to tell.
Yeah.
All right, guys. I love you both. I'll talk to you soon.
Ciao for now, y'all.
All right.